this is Jeanette Knight, and I'm going to go on a rant about appropriate stakeholder management and expectations when you're asking a stakeholder for potential contract or statement of work language. All right, so here's the background. Imagine that you are asked to get language from a department in your organization, and you're not the expert in it as the contract professional. That's why you're going to go get the language from this other department. So in my personal experience recently, what has happened is as my client is negotiating ever bigger, ever higher risk, higher dollar contracts, the language that had been uniform in specific terms and conditions or general terms and conditions, or had been boilerplate in the statement of work for reporting and reports and meetings and milestone reports and dates and schedules and those things, is no longer adequate because of the risk of the project. That did not fall within the bandwidth of my colleague to write that language. So my colleague went to the department and asked the department head, could he or his second in command, Liz, please provide this information to us? Now here's the concern, is that it's our job as contract professionals to set the scene. And I set the scene for this video. Higher risk contracts, higher dollar amount contracts, the language typically used in special terms, probably not appropriate. General terms, way too general. It refers back to the statement of work as it ought to, because it's the general terms. And realizing, working with a technical lead, that the language in the statement of work was not going to be adequate. It's our job as contracting professionals to inform other departments of what we're asking for, why we're asking for it, and how we're going to be using it. We need to tell them that in advance. So I set up the why. We need to rewrite this language in light of risk. How we're going to be using this in XYZ future contracts. What we need you to provide us with some language and some definitions around reports, reporting, scheduling, and things like that. When we as contract professionals don't set up the conversations properly, we get garbage back, literally. And it's our responsibility to work with people who don't understand contracts to help them help us. And it's unfortunate because in my professional situation, there were several conversations to then understand what we were being given from the other department without really setting up the other department for success. And much of what the other department was requiring was not universal across several of the next upcoming contracts that are high dollar, high risk. And so, it just became a confused conversation that could have been avoided had we as contract professionals appropriately set up the why, the what, and then the how we were going to use it so that the team member could appropriately respond to us. So here's my advice to you. When you are ever reaching out for either new contract language, review of existing contract language, or review of edited contract language to a department that is not familiar with contracting, I want you to do these three things. Why am I asking you to make this review, suggest this language, review these edits? 2, what specifically am I asking you to do? Provide new language, review existing language, review edited language, and make comments in the comment bubbles or re-edit it and track changes so that we can see what the changes are before accepting them. And then 3, how we're going to use this. This language, is it appropriate for all templated contracts going out? Is it only to be used in this one circumstance, etc.? Because it'll help that team member who's not familiar with contracts give us a better product, so we can then turn around and support the line of businesses with a better product. So yeah, my observations are that stakeholder management and expectations around contract language really is something that all contract professionals can and ought to do. And I'd really like to break the bad habit of just sending email requests to departments that say, hey, can you give me this language on this topic? Or can you give me this language on this topic? Or can you please review this language as supplier marked up? Or can you please review this language that the customer marked up without anything else in it? So 3 questions. Why am I asking you to do this? What am I asking you to do? And how is it going to be used by me, the contracting professional? I hope this helps you avoid a lot of rework, a lot of tense conversations, and a lot of stress.